Back now to one of our top stories. Investigators in Missouri paying new attention to surveillance video taken the night baby Lisa Irwin disappeared from her home. According to eyewitnesses, a mystery man carrying a baby was sighted at 12:15 a.m. a couple of houses away from baby Lisa's home. At 12:15 a.m., another sighting of a man at a gas station. Look at this surveillance footage. It captures a man dressed in a white T-shirt leaving a wooded area, but does he or does he not have a baby with him? Baby Lisa's father told police that on his way home from work around 4 a.m., no, it wasn't baby Lisa's father. It was a man named Mike Thompson that he saw at around 4 a.m. He saw a man in a T-shirt carrying a baby at an intersection, and that was about 3 miles from the home. So at least 3 sightings of a mystery man, 2 allegedly with the baby. What do we make of it? Well, for the first time since my lengthy interview with Lisa Irwin's parents, I'm joined by the lead attorney for the family, Joe Tacopina. Joe, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. Let me ask you about these reports now that this mystery man, at least the first time he was sighted was 3 houses away from baby Lisa's home at 12:15 a.m. on the night she went missing. These are neighbors who were apparently so concerned about what they saw that on their own they called police the very next morning.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many questions that this raises as far as I'm concerned. Why are we hearing about this for the first time now? Obviously putting something like this out there may have caused more witnesses to come forward. I'm not here to question law enforcement tactics, but, I've heard an awful lot about, allegations and aspersions being cast on my clients. And this is stuff that Megyn, is what investigations are made of. I mean, this is watershed stuff as far as I'm concerned. You have 3 independent witnesses. If you have one witness seeing something like this, you could discount it perhaps, or at least take it with a grain of salt, because you just don't know if that witness's, recollection was appropriate, proper. Were they thinking, were they seeing things, were they hallucinating? But you have 3 independent witnesses following almost a chart that leads away from the home, closest to the home and away from the home. And what is the likelihood of 3 independent witnesses who know nothing about this case or each other seeing an individual walking with a baby with just a diaper on at midnight, 2 in the morning, and 4 in the morning? In October, by the way. Obviously, something is wrong, and I really hope and pray that this gives some answers to this family and hopefully the safe return of Lisa.
I think everybody's hoping that. It's like you don't know what happened. That lawyers, just because they represent clients, don't know what happened. I don't know what happened just because I interviewed them. No one knows what happened except the people who are involved. And I think the police are looking into this theory that it was an intruder, but are also looking at the parents. And you, Joe, you're a good lawyer. You know they have to do that. What they are saying is that one of the things they really want to do is interview these boys again. There's a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old boy who sat down once with child experts. It wasn't police interrogators. It was folks who were trained in how to deal with children. And it only happened one time the day after the baby went missing. Would you allow them to have another sit down with the boys in that context, with child experts, not with police interrogators?
Sure, with the appropriate, surroundings, with the appropriate questioning, absolutely. I mean, don't forget, this family is yearning for answers. But to put a 6- and 8-year-old who are going through, and I spent time with them, Megyn, those 2 little boys, and they are adorable, but they are shell-shocked, and they are traumatized, and they don't know where their little baby sister is. And they sat for 5 hours and being questioned about things, and they gave their story. I understand wanting to be thorough and whatnot, but, you have 5 hours with a 6- and 8-year-old who are sleeping through most of the night. I mean, there's not really a heck of a lot more you need from them. That being said, if there are legitimate reasons to question them further, as long as the medical individuals, the individuals who take care of these children and who are expert in the child welfare, would be involved and would condone it, then absolutely. But we just want to make sure that no further damage is done to these children. They're right now forever scarred based on what's going on here. And
obviously the boys have been through a lot too. But you know that people's reaction is if you've got a 3rd child missing, you're going to have your first 2 children talk. Joe, I want to ask you when we come back. We're up against a hard break in 9 seconds, but I want to ask you when we come back about the interview I had with your clients, and in particular, the mother's testimony. She changed her timeline. We'll be right back. Originally, when this case first broke, the police told us, and Deborah Bradley came out, the mother, and said the baby went missing sometime after 10:30. That's when she put her down. That's when she last saw her. When I spoke with the mother 2 Sundays ago, she changed the timeline for the first time and said actually she has no memory of ever seeing baby Lisa past 6:40 p.m. because that's when she put her down and she got very drunk and may have possibly blacked out. Never remember seeing her again. Joe, why did she change her story? Why did she tell the cops that it was 10:30 when in fact it was 6:40?
Well, there's a few things going on there, Megyn, and they're totally consistent with, innocence and not certainly a cover-up and by any stretch. What it is what you have going on is this mother is, remember that night, aside from whatever alcohol she consumed, which obviously is her right to do as an adult after her children are asleep, she suffered through an amazingly traumatic event that night. When police arrived, she was on the floor trembling. And I spoke to Deborah and Jeremy about how she reacted, and it was just daunting to hear it. So understand, she's going through this traumatic event, and she's trying to recall, as she's speaking to police, the events of the night before, as her mind is consumed with her missing daughter. So, if things don't crystallize initially, doesn't mean that later, if she remembers something or another witness helps her refresh her recollection, which in this case, I think is what happened.
But it's not like she remembered.
There who was there.
But I'm sorry to interrupt, Joe. So I apologize. We have such little time. But it's not like she said 6:40 and then she remembered that she had checked on her another time. She apparently, when she talked to police, remembered a time that didn't exist. I mean, it was as if she invented the 10:30 checking on the daughter, because later she came out and said she confessed that she never remembers doing that.
No. What see, and this is the problem with police interviews and then leaks about what she said in a police interview. What she'd said was routinely before she goes to bed at around 10:30, she would check on her daughter, and that's something she would do, and she assumed she did that night.
Janine Pirro she checked on her at 10:30 as well.
Because that's what she did as a matter of course, and what she knows she did, and what another witness's support is that she put the baby to bed at around 6:30. The baby was in bed at about 6:30. We know that. We know that when Deborah's friend left and Deborah went to bed, it was around 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So she assumed she checked on the baby, but that really has nothing to do with the timeline in this case. And there was another
I'm very sorry, Joe. I would love to keep you over, but
time.
now we're 5 seconds away from hard break. Listen, thank you so much for coming on. We'll have you back. You're a
Goodbye.
stand-up guy for coming on. We'll see you soon.